So now we have the opportunity to talk to Mike from Magnolia Cycles. The thing that's interesting about Mike is not only is he a frame builder, he's a bike shop owner, but of all the people here who travel to Bentonville, he's local. You've been an Arkansas guy for your whole life, or we talked about?
Born and raised in Arkansas.
Right.
Spent some time in Memphis, Salt Lake,
right.
Some UBI, so Ashland Oregon for a bit. But mostly Arkansas for my life. Yeah.
So before we talk about the bike, though, just quickly, because Bentonville has become such a huge sensation in America, probably around the world, in terms of a mountain bike, especially destination. And everywhere we go, you seem to be like, oh no, I used to work here. Oh no, this is the donut shop I went to when I was a kid. Blah blah. So you know the area so well, and you've been actually, again, we went to the school.
Yep.
And you're actually really a seed of a lot of the mountain bike, or just the cycling.
Sure.
Growth locally here. Yeah. Can you just tell us briefly a little bit about, what's going on in what makes Bentonville so special?
Man, Arkansas in general, but Northwest Arkansas specifically, it's been a hidden gem for forever. Growing up in Arkansas, when I got into mountain biking early 90s, I was riding hiking trails and stuff because there was no official mountain bike trails. But we knew always that we had some of the best, riding, mountain biking specifically, road riding, gravel, everything. Gravel has become super huge here, especially, but then internationally for the last few years. And so it's always been trying to convince people. It's like, you're from Arkansas, and it's like, there's nothing in Arkansas. It's like, well, we've got some rugged terrain that you can really take advantage of. And so it took some certain people in our community to kind of be able to back that and get into this cycling industry, and we were fortunate enough to have some good backing to start this process, and build this and start to show the world what amazing riding we have here.
Right.
We don't have a lot of elevation. We're not Colorado, but you can do a 40-mile ride and still get close to 3,000 miles, or 3,000 feet of climbing, and it's up and down, but it's really some good technical riding and some really good old school style stuff too. So, but also some of the new stuff, we're building. I can't remember how many miles of trail we're building a year, but it's insane. It's just insane.
I heard 200 miles already.
Yes.
Is already here. And then, just as we're here today, we have farmers market downtown. Yep. But the one thing that I've been so impressed with of all the, there's this constant flow of events in Bentonville, but the Women of Oz.
Women of Oz,
right now. And just bring all these women on mountain bikes. There's just been these constant trove of these groups of women.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so exciting to see. And so, Bentonville. It shouldn't go without saying. Bentonville. We're here. In terms of the cycling community, so much of it is the benefit of the Walton family.
Yes. For sure.
And so, what is with the Women of Oz thing? All these things. It's just Bentonville is now. Again, I use finger quotes when I say I hear the capital of mountain biking in America.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy, and there's other places that still remain dear to me. But the thing that's so impressive is not just the trails, but the sense of cycling community that's coming through Bentonville.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of fostering community. We have a lot of really great local groups. Women of Oz. We have some various BIPOC groups. When we did a fundraiser or a little raffle for our grand opening last year. We did that for Arkansas Latinas in BC. So getting women, and they do a great job in that community. And so it's not just sticking with traditionally cycling's kind of been seen as a boys' club, and it's hard for women and minorities to kind of break into that inner circle. And they've done a really good job of reaching out to all aspects.
Yeah.
Everything from the pedal it forward that fixes up bikes for those people who need a mode of transportation, to Allied that sells $15,000 mountain bikes, and manufactures those in-house. So we've got in the last 15 years, this place has just exploded, of course, and it's finally now we have the means to get the word out, and people are finding out that Arkansas does have, it's not just a flyover state.
Yeah, plus the school programs, right?
Plus the school programs.
So
the
impressive.
Education programs with Northwest Arkansas Community College and Thaden School, and then all the local high schools that have bike facilities at the schools.
Yeah.
Bentonville High School has its own kind of bike shop that they run as well.
Okay.
And students run and learn how to work on bikes as well. So it's not part of their core curriculum like Thaden, but it's part of the school for sure. Yeah.
Well, just as an outsider, I mean, honestly, just because like so many times, I travel around the world, blah blah blah, and I just want to say thank you and show, kind of like from the universal world of cycling, appreciation to you and your cohorts here, because I mean, again, I've known you for 3 days now, right? And
Right.
but I've been standing back and being impressed with listening to the stories about how much you yourself have been galvanizing the cycling community.
Sure.
And it's just like, again, as a bike guy, right?
My part is insignificant, I promise.
No, that's not true. That's not true. And again, so just like for the sake of it, I just want to acknowledge, because in every community, if it starts with one person, and maybe you're not that one person. The Walton brothers they're the couple of persons, right? And they're a big deal too. But I just want to acknowledge the fact that you've done what you've done.
Well, appreciate that.
And because I saw the kids on the bikes and they're learning about bikes, and it's just like that's it's like spreading seed at a farm. It's like if no one's out there toiling in the sun spreading seeds, that farm won't grow, which means that fewer cyclists. So, with that aside, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Magnolia Bikes.
Sure.
So he was a frame builder. Just quickly tell that story about how you guys started being why you became a frame builder. You're making bikes. You started your own bike shop a year ago. Just yesterday was the anniversary, right?
Yesterday was the anniversary. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, Thursday.
Thursday was the anniversary. You're making. This is your first bike. You can just go on and tell us,
One of my
but then
first
also
bikes,
tell us
sure.
then where you're going. But
so I kind of have you to blame for wanting to be a frame builder. You wrote an article in 93, 94 about UBI and their frame building course.
What's UBI?
United Bicycle Institute.
There we go.
They no longer offer their frame building course, but they offer mechanical certification, shop certification. It's grown even since I was immensely since I was there. They had a frame building course. I read the article. I didn't know you could build a frame yourself, and so I went. And finally, 25 years later, I get to meet, or almost 30 years later, I get to meet the man who kind of got that started. But yeah, so I started as a frame builder. I kind of backburnered it after that. I was 19. I didn't have any business open in shop. I needed to learn a lot more. So, I shop ratted. I went to art school. Never built a bike in art school, even though I did a lot of metal sculpture. And just never, I don't know what, I was too focused on my art and not necessarily the art of the bike at that time. I was still, working in bike shops and knew how to build a frame, but I just didn't for whatever reason, didn't put two and two together. And shortly after I got out of school, I had a customer at a local shop that was really into custom stuff and found out that I could build frames, and that's what I wanted to do, and helped me kind of get started in Memphis and when I was there at art school, or just after art school. So I started building more traditional stuff. This is one of the early frames, just real traditional cyclocross bike. It's lugged. I did some shaping of the lugs, but it's a pretty stock standard lug set. And then I also built the fork and the stem, all lugged as well. So started with that. Moved into some fillet braze stuff too. The first frame I built at UBI was a fillet braze frame. I wanted to do a mountain bike, and lugs just weren't an option. So, lugged and fillet braze has been traditionally what I've been doing. Moving into, and so had to back burner it. I did NABS in 2011. I had a new builder table with a really nice fillet braze frame. You can still see an interview of me looking all nerdy on the internets. And then had to back burner it. Had some life changes. Put it on a shelf for a bit. Got back to Arkansas, and been here back in Arkansas about 8 years now. And the last 2 years, I've had the opportunity to kind of start building again, or last 5 years, and then needed a space and found a really great space. It was a little bit bigger than I needed, so I was like, well, I guess I'm going to open a bike shop and do bike shop with custom fab, because I've always had some ideas about what I want to do if I was to open my own shop, and change the narrative a little bit there, and then also offer custom builds. So along the way, started there's a local independent school, junior high and high school. I helped develop their cycling education program. They bring students in. The students are required to take the class. And then in junior high, and they can choose one of their signature programs for their senior focus or their high school focus. it was all centered around the idea was teaching science using the bike. That's kind of the seed that sparked helped me spark the program. The program was in the works. I was the one they chose to develop it. So my goal was to teach students mechanical skills using the bike, teach students science principles using the bike, and then also find other tertiary and maybe not so obvious connections to the bike that they can learn other disciplines and cross-curricular opportunities. And then left there and worked for Allied for 3 years doing various things, carbon control and assurance, quality control and assurance the last year or so that I was there. Opened the shop. Now I'm doing frame building and bike shop.
Yeah.
I just got a little long-winded there, maybe a couple tangents, but that's the brief synopsis of my.
So we're going from this frame though to what do you got?
So now along the way, I'm not an engineer, I'm an artist, but I learned CAD, taught myself CAD. So 3D printing's the new buzzword in the industry, and I was into 3D printing, doing some just fun stuff and just making whatever. And metal 3D printing has become a lot more accessible these days, and so I just, having learned CAD, I wanted to kind of just see what's available, what I can do with it, and how I can incorporate it into Magnolia, and that's where I am now. So the next step is to incorporate some 3D printed designs. The designs that I have here, it's I'm just kind of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall right now and seeing what I want to use it for. Whether I'm just going to use it to solve particular problems, or if I want to do something a little more like Tom Sturdy, who's doing just about everything he can using the 3D printed. He's got the fork and the handlebar, the stem, and chain rings, and all these things. And so, I don't know if I'll go that deep down the rabbit hole, but I want to incorporate it. But I don't want to incorporate it just to incorporate it. This first run is just to incorporate it, of course, to figure it out, learn about it. But yeah, it's a really cool process. It really has a lot of potential, and I just want to try to see where I can take that potential, or how that potential can work in my process.
Right. So right now, how steady? I mean, in terms of if people wanted to chase down Magnolia and get a Magnolia bike, what would the bike look like? This, like with lugged, or are you just doing?
It's custom. So right now, I haven't launched the 3D stuff yet.
Right.
I'm doing a prototype first, a couple prototypes first. So that's probably another 6 months out before I'll take an order for one.
Okay.
But right now, I'm taking orders for lugged and fillet brazed. If people are interested, we're kind of soft pedaling the promotion of I don't want to downplay it. I want people to come to me, and if they're interested, for sure.
Get a frame.
But right now, I'm also making sure that the rest of the shop has legs, and can kind of stay afloat without me being their sole focus, so that if I do need to build a frame, I can focus on that fabrication for the time that I'm building.
Right.
But that's not to say I'm not taking orders. We're figuring out the workflow at this point, because we are just a year old, and figuring out how we can balance those things. And so somebody's interested, there's information on our website. You can.
What website is that?
MagnoliaCycles.com.
Hey,
there you go. Sorry. My wife is much better at the shameless self-promotion than I am. But yeah, you can log onto our website or go to our website. If you can schedule a consult, be it remotely or in-house. We go through a consultation, talk about what you're looking for, what's going to fit you. What your reasons for wanting a custom frame are.
Nice.
If it's, I'm a collector and I just like your stuff, that's great. If it's, I can't get fit, I can't find a bike that fits me off the peg, that's one of the great things about custom, is being able to fit somebody with a unique situation. So, so we go through that process, and then, it's, I give you, right now, I don't have a hard estimate on lead times, just due to the fact that I'm running both the shops.
Right.
So it's a little bit, people are doing wall rides on the sculpture over here. So.
Well, that's great. Tell someone for this, put on your Chamber of Commerce hat. What's the reason people should come to Bentonville and ride bikes?
To be surprised.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Arkansas has struggled with a reputation of either being a flyover state or backwoods
Yeah.
full of hillbillies, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
You're going to be surprised.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason. You know,
Yeah.
the writing's great, but you'll be surprised with everything else, from the culinary scene to just the general atmosphere overall.
Yeah.
So
Great. Well, thanks for everything you've done for Arkansas,
thank you.
for Bentonville, and thanks for bringing your Magnolia bike down here.
Appreciate it.
And wish you good luck, eh?
Yeah,
Cheers.
thank you. Yeah.
All right.